Oh, snap! It's time to yap. Welcome to another episode of Just Yapping. And I'm your host, Big C. First, before I begin this podcast, I just want to thank you, all supporters that are out there, especially my family that gave me the support from just that little test episode that I did. Yeah, there are a couple of bumps in the road, that I have to fix, but it's okay. That's why we're here. When everybody was born, we just didn't come out and just start walking, right? You had to take baby steps. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get your feedback, and we're gonna go from there and make this big, and we'll do our thing, right? We'll get a Yap Nation, right? Awesome. Hey, so today's episode that I want to present is about weather. Yes, you heard correctly, weather. Rains, all that stuff. It's been crazy, right? So last week, I live on the East Coast. I live in New York. On last week, it was probably 70 degrees mid-October, right? And then at nighttime, it was a little chilly. You were able to open up the windows and get that nice breeze, right? And cool, and get some fresh air in your home to get all the summer cooties out, right? Out of your house. And like, fine, great. We're in October. We know that the fall is the leaves are changing. Everything is the colorful, everything is beautiful, right? And all of a sudden it gets cold. Like this morning. This morning I get up, no joke. It was like we had a frost alert. It was like 30 something degrees, cracking cold. And I only had on I had on chancletas or flip-flops with socks because I am Puerto Rican. I had on sweatpants and a thin sweatshirt. What was I thinking, right? You know why? That's my fault. I didn't the alert, I just rolled it over and I'm like, yeah, I didn't pay any mind to it like we all do. And I go to work and I'm like, oh my god, it's cold. Like I had to really do a little exercise and stuff to get warm before I got into my car. So we tend to look at our weather. Like we have our phones, we pop out, or if you're like about to drink coffee and you're listening to the radio and you're taking a shower and all that other stuff, like that's what you hear. But blah, 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 and the weather is right. That's what we all count on. But sometimes you can't, because weather is so unpredictable. We could sit here and we can plan, right? We can plan for a beautiful sunny day. Today will be 77, right? Oh, and by the way, I'm not trying to be a meteorologist or take anybody's job, because no, I'm not trying to do that. So then you do that, and then it rains. Nobody has an umbrella. It's pouring rain, all that, and you're like, yo, like, what's up? It was supposed to be sunny, beautiful, all that other stuff, and it rains. That's what happens. It just, listen. It's just the nature of the beast. This is everywhere. This is what's happening, right? So how do we kind of like prepare for that? Unfortunately, to my people down in Florida who lost a lot from the two hurricanes, and my people who lost a lot in North Carolina, I have family in both states. And the people, I think some in maybe South Carolina, I'm really not sure, in Georgia. My heart goes out to you guys, because those are the things I'm talking about. You cannot, like, you can have hurricane proof windows. You can have water to drink. You can have toilet paper. You can have food. You can have everybody ready to go just in case of an emergency, right? And what happens? The crazy part with Hurricane Helene, they predicted for it to be a hurricane, right? And then it did its thing and it went through and it ended up north into the Carolinas and stuff, and just caused mad destruction. You all seen it on television. You seen all that stuff. Just people lost their lives. Horrible. And people who really don't have much don't have anything at all now. They count on your local governments and your community to help them out, but you can't, because of other things. But it's just it's crazy, right? protect thy neighbor, right? But it's hard because you're trying to protect yourself. You're trying to protect your family, but you can't do that because you got to pick up your own stuff and you got to spend money, probably money people don't have, right? It's horrible. But listen, this is Earth. We live on it, and it's gonna throw things at us, curveballs and all that other stuff. That goes with your everyday life, right? But how do you prepare for that? Nobody prepare. You can't. You can't. Why? Because the next hurricane that came through was Milton, and they said the worst hurricane. And mind you, I'm only going by quotes and what people said. This isn't, this is what we see on television and what they're telling us. So you prepare best you can. Milton was like category 5, the most catastrophic thing that's coming through. And again, people did lose, lives. People did lose their property, which can be replaced. Lives cannot be replaced, obviously, which is hard, which is sad. And you cannot prepare for it. Why? Because there were tornadoes that they had to deal with too. Like how insane is that? They tell you, hey, get this blanket, so on and so forth, and here comes a tornado right behind it. How do you prepare for a tornado? You can't. You can't. I had friends when I was in the military that lived in Oklahoma, in Kansas, and all that other stuff, and they're like, yeah, man, it's called Tornado Alley. I could be misquoting it, but it's Tornado Alley, whatever. And we have tornadoes all the time. I'm like, you're like, how do you live there? But that's just the American way of life. That's the way we do. We dust ourselves off, right? We dust ourselves off and get back up and pop and do it again. That's just the way we do things. That's why we are the way we are, right? But it's still sad. You work so some people work so hard to get what they have to lose it to some rain or wind or what snow or it's just insane. And there are other places around the world that deal with typhoons and 200-300 mile an hour like come on, like how do you like crazy. Plus, I mean, it can be weather related, but like, earthquakes and tsunamis. And listen, we can go on and on and on for days, but it's really hard to prepare for something like that, and again, you're trying to do the best you can to survive, right? Especially those elderly that they don't have much. They don't have much. Where are they going to go? Who's going to help them, right? Really, really sad. So listen, I pray for those who are still struggling, especially now with the economy being bad and what we're going through as far as weather. Because one, here in the East Coast, we're gonna get snow. Like, listen, I've been here 40 years. I'm a little older, but I'm saying I've been here 40 some odd years. I hate the snow. I do. Why? Because at my job, I have to shovel it. Right? I don't mind getting paid for it. That's my job. I gotta shovel it. When I come home, I gotta shovel it. It's just repetitive. It's redundant. I hate it. Where do I want to go? I do want to go down south, but guess what? Now I'm afraid that we got these things popping through. But you know what? Hurricanes and everything coming through, and I can't live like that though. I can't worry about what's gonna happen tomorrow. I can't worry about. We gotta live now, right? Because tomorrow is not guaranteed. So what? I'm gonna be scared of a storm, and we got to do it. Yeah, listen, I can walk out the door right now and get bust, got finito, right? But I got to keep going though. We all got to keep going. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes our family strong, right? And the sad part about it is that it's going to continue to happen until whoever's in charge turns our lights off. Period. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's the truth. Another thing, as far as weather changing, and this is where I want you people to understand where I'm coming from. So I was this big thing on Alaska, right? Like going to Alaska one day and eating the biggest king crab legs that they have and seeing polar bears and maybe chilling with a few a few Eskimos, seeing how they live. Honestly, that's what I wanted to do. That was like one of my things on my bucket list, right? Another thing I wanted to do is see the northern lights. I don't know if a lot of you have seen this thing, but I'll tell you what. So our son calls us. He was hanging out with some friends, and our son calls us, and he's like, "Mom, Dad, you gotta go outside real quick and blah blah blah, blah and go see outside." Listen, I'm chilling on my couch. I'm watching TV. I don't want to get up, but he was like, "No, you gotta go outside. You gotta see this thing. It's crazy." So I'm like, "Oh my god, okay, I'll get up." We both got up, my wife and I. We get up, we go, and we look up. And when I tell you, we looked up, it was clear. It was beautiful, beautiful. People who've never seen this thing before, unbelievable. It was pink. It was like a cloud, but it was a wavy cloud with pinks and green. Beautiful. If I have pictures one day and I'll download it, I will download it, send it to you, or not. You can go on Google or whomever and see it for yourself, because that's what it looks like. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous. So guess what? I'll just go to the supermarket, get my king crab legs. I'll get cold in the winter, and I already see the northern lights. So I have to go to. I don't want to save money. I don't have to go to Alaska now, right? But it's crazy. That is the change of weather. Those are the weather patterns. Those are the things. The solar, all that stuff. That's everything is changing, and it's insane. Like what's happening. We again, how can you prepare for that if I didn't know about it, right? It's simple. You can't. We didn't know about it. It happened, and what are you going to do? Just like people flying in a plane. People flying in a plane, you get turbulence out of bed, right? You're bouncing around, you're trying to drink your coffee, you're like, you can't. And unfortunately, some people get hurt during turbulence, and it's an hour flight. It's because things are changing, right? Things are just changing dramatic, quick, fast. Even in the sea, you take a cruise, the cruises, the ships are bouncing around, and it's insane. It really is. So we have to try our best to protect ourselves the best you can. You can only do so much, right? That's all we can do. The stuff that happened down in Florida and North Carolina and Georgia, and I might be missing a couple of states. If I am, I really apologize, man, because there's been a lot of stuff going on, and I'm trying to catch up to a lot. So I really feel for you guys. I'm really sorry that happened to you all, and my heart goes out to everybody out there. And on a quick thing, listen, you're gonna hear me a lot if you follow me and you continue on these podcasts with me. This drive that we're doing. I did a lot of things in my life, right? Good things. I'm not saying that, oh, yeah, I did some bad things, but nothing crazy, right? Um, there, there was a time when I was a fireman. I was a volunteer fireman for 12 years. I was a captain in the fire company for 3. So I seen a lot, right? I seen a lot, did a lot, whatever. So I recall we had a storm, like where I lived at one point, and I still work now. It's from the north. There's a river. That's what they call it, a river. But it's, I don't know how far north. Let's say it's 60 miles by 20. I don't know, like 20 feet or 30 feet wide. It's really not. They call it a river, but I call it a creek. Whatever. This thing, so it rained, right? It rained like 4 inches in about an hour. 4 inches in an hour. That's a lot of rain. But the thing is that the water comes from the north, travels all the way down, and picks up all this debris and wood. And I don't have to explain it to you people that know about flooding, okay? But some that don't understand, this is what it's about. And where I worked and where we lived, it's like a bowl. That water has nowhere to go but inside that bowl, and it filled up like this, right? So we get a call for a person on the highway, right? Because it's like next to the river. It's next to the river, of a person trapped in their car in water. So everybody gets in. We do our thing. There was a lady in her car. The water had just reached the top of her window, like her driver's side window, and it wasn't rolled down all the way because she didn't want the water to, like, fall in. But her car was like there, it wasn't moving, right? But you can see that the current was getting there. So as guys hook up, they harness, they rope off, they do safety checks, they go out, and they go maybe like 50 yards. They travel about 50 yards. They tie the woman off to a harness, they pull her out of the window, and voila, they come, they come and bring her on to shore safety, give her, a towel or whatever, just to keep her warm, right? We're packing up, ready to leave. True story. We're packing up, ready to leave, and the roadway goes like it's like a loop de loop, right? Like on a roller coaster, it goes straight up, down, and whatever, and then it goes into that little like gully or bowl we were in. We see headlights coming over the hill and then down. I don't mean to make a joke out of it, but at that part, it was funny when it happened, but it really is not. The guy was driving his car, and where the road like ended, where it started to meet the water, he plunges into the river or the flood waters, and he's holding on his steering wheel, and he's like, "Hey, have you guys seen my have you seen my wife come through here in a green Audi?" And we're like, "What the f is going on? Like, what is this guy? Are you crazy?" We were more concerned because his car, when the car plunged into the water, it was like this. The hood was down and he was bouncing. We were afraid that he was gonna flip over. He'd be screwed because the car would take him, and we would have never seen that guy again. But the guy's quick reaction, they ran over to him and let me get back. So jokingly, one of the big bosses was like, "Yeah, she went south toward wherever," and he's like, "Okay," and he's still like trying to steer his car. I was like, what's wrong with this guy anyway? So they tie off and they tie onto the car, they tie onto the fire truck, to hold it from drifting down river, and they pull the guy out. And what I'm trying to get to is like people sometimes in bad weather can be oblivious to what's going on around them, and they can get somebody hurt, or they can hurt themselves and stuff. That's why we all have to be careful when they say do not enter or danger. Don't do it, because that's what do you think people make signs for? Because that's what they're there for. Do we break the rules? Heck yeah, I break the rules. We all do it. But you know what? Breaking those rules can actually really, really hurt you. You know what I'm saying? It can hurt it financially, because daddy's not here anymore, and what are we going to do? Or mommy, or your brother, your sister, and it's horrible, and it happens, and it's really, really sad. I'm not making this as a podcast to be sad. I'm just giving you pointers to be careful out there. Don't do things that you're not supposed to do, right? I'm just giving you some guidance. Don't do things you're not supposed to do, right? So in closing this thing, because I think it's about my time, right? I just want to say, when you do stuff, just think about it. If you get that gut feeling, right? Sometimes you're like, oh my God, you get nervous and like, well, ¿qué hago? What do I do? Like, you just think about it. If it's in your gut and you think it's wrong, guess what? It's wrong. Don't do it. Don't do it. So, with that being said, I'm Big C. This is my time. I appreciate all of you for the support. I'm going to keep at this as long as I can, as long as you keep liking. If you get on my YouTube page, please like, comment, and subscribe to my page on YouTube. You know what? I want you guys to be safe. A little more love out there, right? Stop hating. Let's stop hating each other and protect each other and be there for one another. That's what we need to do. We need to bounce back, and we need to dust off. We need to stand up strong, and we need to keep going forward, right? We need to just march forward. That's what we need to do, right? That's what we're here for, to protect one another, right? Get humanity back and respect, right? With that being said, the best remedy is to keep yapping. I'm Big C. Peace.